Hi and welcome to another episode of the Aurora School for Artists Digital. I'm Christoph, and today I'd like to show you how to use the AR Foundation for Unity. But before we start with the installation, I would like to explain to you what the AR Foundation actually is and what you can do with it, and only then we move on to the installation. Unity itself describes the AR Foundation Toolkit as a toolkit that can be used for augmented reality development, cross-platform in the Unity engine, for a wide variety of platforms, for a wide variety of devices such as smartphones, Android and iOS, but also for various augmented reality glasses. Here you can see an example of an iOS tablet in which virtual objects are integrated into the camera image, are rendered in such a way that it looks as if the objects are real in the room. Would stand. They are gray in the image here, but they are correctly placed and could also be real objects. Here you can see that the AR Foundation offers a wide range of features, including to recognize surfaces, i.e. real surfaces in space and accordingly in virtual space. Use. This means, for example, that you can place virtual objects on a real table, or what you see here on the right is a picture on which markers are lying on a table, and numbers are then displayed virtually in 3 dimensions on these markers. This also works, i.e., markers can be used to position objects, to be able to display them. AR Foundation ultimately represents an overarching framework which can then be can serve as the basis for your own app. However, the individual frameworks of the manufacturers are located under the AR Foundation, for example, from Google and Apple, while the ARKit and ARCore, which provide the actual function for the end devices. But AR Foundation summarizes the functions of the individual frameworks together and makes them accessible via a single interface, so that they are time-consuming to develop cross-platform. The fact is, however, that the functionality is of course dependent on the frameworks of the manufacturers, or the end devices must also support the function, must be able to. And accordingly, AR Foundation does not offer the same functions for all platforms. For example, for smartphones, i.e. Android phones and iPhones, the functions in AR Foundation are relatively well developed. This means that almost all of the functions provided by AR Foundation can be used on smartphones. Implemented. For the Magic Leap glasses or the HoloLens from Microsoft, i.e. AR glasses, this is not quite the same. AR Foundation currently only supports individual features. The glasses can usually also cover the other features, but this requires you then have to use the individual frameworks or toolkits from the manufacturers. But what we want here is to use AR Foundation across platforms. And accordingly, you have to be careful that you incorporate the appropriate features are available on the corresponding end devices. But now let's start with the installation of the AR Foundation. In other words, this is basically a plugin or a package which we install in our Unity project, and that's what we're going to do next. I have set up a completely empty Unity project. There's nothing in here, no objects in the scene or anything. That's not the point here. We just want to install the AR Foundation package for this Unity project, or make the project augmented reality capable. To do this, we go up here to Window and then to Package Manager, and then we get to such a window here, which I have pinned here below. Here you get an overview of all possible packages that you can use for the Unity editor. Can be installed. This means that you can add functions to the project that are not available by default, are available in the Unity editor. If we now want to find the AR Foundation package here, then we can use in the search, and we will now find various packages that belong to the example have something to do with AR, including the AR Foundation package. This is what we want to install in the end. We can now do this once in this version, which is version 2.1.8. However, if you open the small hook here, we can see that there is a new version, namely version 4.0.8, or if you click here on See All Versions, you will also find a whole range of other versions, which of course all have different features. It is usually the case that higher versions offer more features or not as many. Bugs, i.e. run more stable, for example. What I'm doing is I'm going to install version 4.0.8 here now. That it is not suggested here by default, but the 2.1.8 version is here. This is because I am using version 2019.4.8 as the Unity version here, and from this version determines which package version is considered verified. So it is approved by Unity for the respective Unity version. Nevertheless, newer packages also work, especially with the LTS versions. For example, the packages of version 4.0 here for the AR Foundation package, and we can install this accordingly. We install it by clicking on the Install button at the bottom right here. This takes a short moment, and in the end, this package will give us new AR functions that the Unity editor does not provide by default. This has now worked for me, and not only the AR Foundation base package was installed, but also an AR subsystem package, which was simply installed for this base package. And this now provides us with a whole host of new functions for our project, but we also need to install platform-specific packages. If we want to develop for Android, for example, i.e. augmented reality functions on Android devices, then we have to use the ARCore XR plugin. And here we can also check which version is currently the latest version. And as with the AR Foundation package, it is also version 4.8 in my case. I install this accordingly, and then we can, for example, if we are developing for Apple, after the installation is complete, we can also install the ARKit XR plugin. Also in version 4.8. Here you have to be a bit careful, because there are two packages that come with ARKit. Not that you install the face tracking, which also works with the AR Foundation package, but this is just a face tracking feature, which can be installed separately here. So in the end, we have now installed 4 packages that give us the AR functionality for our project, and if we want to use them now, we have to go to Edit Project Settings, because here we can now set that we want to use these packages for the individual platforms. I just installed only the Android version for this Unity version here, not the iOS package, which means I now have 2 tabs here under this XR Plugin Management tab. One for desktop and one for Android. And here we now find the ARCore framework. What we have installed down here, this is the package, and we can click here, and this is then initialized and used for Android devices when the application is started, and ultimately provides the function for the AR Foundation package, which in turn is used by us to implement cross-platform, i.e. cross-platform functions on different end devices. If I had also installed the corresponding toolkit for the engine here for iOS, then I would also be the iOS tab here, and I could now click on ARKit. Here below you can see that both packages are definitely included, but I now have here did not install the corresponding platform. For example, I can now create a new game object here and save it under Add Component to see what components have been added, and we get a new tab AR. Respectively, the scripts of the AR Foundation package can be found under Scripts, UnityEngine.exe.AR Foundation, and here you can now get AR anchors. Plane detection scripts, any tracking object scripts manager, which in the end manage the AR scene. What all these scripts do now, however, we will look at in another video. For now, this should only be about installing the AR Foundation package. And in the end, we don't need to know much more. You now know that there is this package manager, and you can use it to add new functions, the engine, or for the project. I hope the video has helped you so far and has given you a brief overview of the AR Foundation package, and you also understood how to install the toolkit or what you have to do to activate it here. And in the end, that's it for this video.